there are a great many good people and a few not so good people talking about how important it is to get out of the WHO, talking about how important it is to not allow the pandemic treaty, as it's called, to go forward, to not allow the amendments to the international health regulations to go forward. Those are good people, and they're saying things that are true, but they're irrelevant. Even if we were to withdraw from WHO today, even if we were to withdraw from the international health regulations today, we would still be under the grinding, destructive cruelty of Agenda 2030. In my view, Maria, there is one issue, and it is not parental rights. It is not gender ideology. It is not land grabs. It is not WHO. It is removing each and every one of our countries from the death machine, the United Nations. Now, the death machine you mentioned has a backup plan to its backup plan. The political declaration is a backup plan saying, well, just in case all of our bits and pieces don't come together, we're going to take over everything anyway. In back of that is the Pact for the Future, and you can go online and check it out, Pact for the Future. It's a United Nations program which memorializes and makes permanent the permanent state of chaos, crisis, and control by whoever sits in the seat of Director General or Secretary General, rather, of the United Nations. And we know that that means a complete destruction of humanity and humanity's rights. The point is that these people are, in fact, both self-referentially insane and exceedingly dangerous, more dangerous perhaps than any force that has ever been on the planet before, because they have science and technology to enforce their lunacy. It is essential for us to stop the lunacy, not to moderate it, not to try to change the amendments for the international health regulations, not to try to reform any aspect of it, but to kill it at its heart. And the way to do that is to force our sock puppets in high places, our political supposed public servants, to do our will. And we can do that. And that means forcing the head of state of each of the countries that we're able to impact to write the letter that withdraws us from the United Nations. The Pact for the Future says, look, there's always going to be an emergency. There's always going to be a crisis. It could be climate, which we're lying about. It could be food, which we're creating. It could be economic, which we're creating. It could be outer space, as you said. Could be anything. And so we're just going to accept that there's always a crisis, and we're going to take over the entire world in order to prevent you from being harmed by the crisis. The press to get out of WHO, while worthy, while valid, is subsidiary. And if we expend our political capital on subsidiary issues, on dealing with pimples and superficial cuts, when the body politic is being rotted from the inside by a cancer called unelected nobodies or United Nations, we are participating in our own death and demise. They have already determined that they will eliminate most of the population, and through transhumanism, they will literally eliminate the human race. Our DNA is our past, our present, and our future. And I need not repeat what is being done to our DNA and will be done further if we allow it. There is no aspect of human life which will be allowed to continue as we know it, as we value it. And most of all, what is being destroyed is the capacity to love. And to trust one another. So we are being separated from our wisdom, from our bodies, from our DNA, from our children, from our property, from our very capacity to bring food forth from the earth. We are being separated from our ability to think, to communicate, all of it in the interest of a vast and total suppression of humanity into a slave caste that can never rise up again. To which my response is, no, out. I
Dr.
want
Leiber,
out of your system. The cure is to exit the United Nations, and then humanity must extract all of the roots of corruption that have been put into all of our systems, preparing for this moment of cataclysm.